In the mythology of Hollywood's golden age, some stars are just untouchable. We speak their names with a special kind of reverence, like they were saints or kings. They are the icons, the legends, the heroes we grew up watching on the silver screen. We remember them as charming, wholesome, and heroic. But what if it was all a lie? What if those friendly faces were just a mask, a carefully built illusion sold to the public? For decades, there have been whispers in Hollywood stories of cruelty and awful behavior hidden behind the studio gates. But they were always just whispers. Until now, a shocking rumor has brought one of old Hollywood's most respected stars, Burt Lancaster, back into the spotlight for one last performance from beyond the grave. The story goes that Lancaster, a man who seemed to stand for integrity, left behind a secret list. A final testament naming the so-called disgusting actors that a whole generation was tricked into loving. This isn't just old gossip. It's a story that threatens to shatter the foundation of Hollywood's golden legacy, a bombshell list that could rewrite history and expose saints as sinners. But in a world of deep fakes and digital lies, what's the truth? Is this explosive story real? Or is it one of the biggest hoaxes in Hollywood history? We decided to launch an investigation to peel back the layers of myth, separate fact from fiction, and find out what's really going on. And what we found is a story far more complex and fascinating than the lie itself. This is the truth behind Burt Lancaster's secret list. For decades, Burt Lancaster was the picture of Hollywood integrity. He seemed to be above the scandals and secrets of his time. But what if that was all a lie? A shocking rumor has gone viral that in his final days, Lancaster named the disgusting actors we were all tricked into loving. A secret list that could destroy the legacies of Hollywood's greatest legends. But is this story real? Or is it the greatest hoax in Hollywood history? We investigated, and the truth we found is more surprising than the lie. The story you see online is as simple as it is sensational. It pops up in the titles of clickbait articles and breathless YouTube videos. Burt Lancaster finally names the disgusting actors you were tricked into liking. The story is almost always the same. It claims that late in his life, as his health was failing, a jaded Burt Lancaster decided he needed to clear his conscience. He supposedly created a list in a secret memoir or told close friends about the actors he considered morally bankrupt, cruel, or just plain phony. According to the rumor, these weren't just rivals. These were stars whose public images were a total fabrication, a marketing trick played on all of us. The names on these supposed lists are a who's who of Hollywood royalty. Icons so beloved that the idea of them being disgusting feels like a betrayal. Names like Jimmy Stewart, the ultimate American everyman, Marilyn Monroe, the tragic, beautiful icon, Errol Flynn, the daring adventurer, and Bing Crosby, the cozy, cardigan-wearing father figure of American pop culture. The rumor sets up Lancaster as the ultimate insider, the one honest man in a town of fakes, who saw the darkness behind their dazzling smiles. The story gets its power from Lancaster's own reputation. He was known as a complex, smart, and often serious guy. He grew up tough in East Harlem, New York, and started his career not in some fancy drama school, but as a circus acrobat with his friend Nick Cravat. This background gave him a gritty realness that made him stand out from the polished stars of the studio system. He wasn't just an actor, he was a force of nature. After serving in World War II, a chance meeting in an elevator landed him a Broadway role Hollywood called almost immediately, and his career took off with the 1946 film noir classic, The Killers. But Lancaster was never just a movie star. He was one of the first actors of his time to take control of his own career. He co-founded his own independent production company, Hecht Hill Lancaster, when the major studios had all the power. This was a revolutionary move. During the Golden Age, studios ran a tight ship. They owned their actors, telling them what roles to take, where to be seen, and even who to date. Stars were locked into contracts with morality clauses and studio. Publicists worked around the clock to create myths and bury scandals. Lancaster's decision to form his own company was a direct challenge to that system. It cemented his image as a man of principle who refused to be a pawn in the studio's game. He was also famously outspoken, a passionate liberal, a critic of the McCarthy-era blacklist and a supporter of civil rights who marched with Martin Luther King Jr. He was known to have a fiery temper and very little patience for phonies. One director even called him the most charming dictator in Hollywood. This is the man at the heart of the rumor, tough, principled, and not afraid to speak. His mind, and it's this real, complex image of Lancaster that makes the idea of a secret hate list so believable. It fits the story of a man who saw Hollywood's hypocrisy up close and wasn't afraid to expose it. To understand why this rumor is so compelling, you have to look at the evidence it uses. These fabricated stories don't just name names. They mix half-truths, old scandals, and Hollywood gossip to make their claims sound believable. They cleverly use the real-life controversies of the stars on the supposed list, twisting history into proof of Lancaster's secret judgment. Let's start with an actor who seems untouchable, James Stewart. His public image was that of the perfect American hero, decent, moral, and completely wholesome. He was the star of It's a Wonderful Life, a movie that has become a worldwide symbol of goodness. Stewart was a decorated war hero who paused his career to serve in the Army Air Forces during World War II. He was married to the same woman, Gloria McLean, for 45 years. By all public accounts, he was scandal-free. So how does a guy like that end up on a disgusting actors list? The rumor mill has to twist his wholesome image into a form of hypocrisy. The fabricated stories claim Lancaster saw Stewart's "oh shucks" personality as a carefully crafted act. They point to whispers from the 1930s, when MGM studio heads were reportedly so worried about Stewart being a bachelor that they thought people would assume he was gay. One biography even claims a studio scout made a young Stewart visit a brothel, just to protect his manly image. Now that story really says more about the studio's crazy level of control, but the rumor twists it into proof of a fake persona. It also brings up his premarital affairs with stars like Marlene Dietrich, painting them not as the actions of a single guy in Hollywood, but as more evidence that the family man image was a lie. The core accusation is phoniness, that Lancaster, who came from the rough world of the circus, saw Stewart as a manufactured product whose squeaky clean image was just too good to be true. Then there's Marilyn Monroe. Unlike Stewart, Monroe's life was full of public scandal and personal tragedy. Her struggles with addiction, her high-profile affairs, and her battles with mental illness are all part of her legend. Here, the rumor doesn't need to invent scandal. It just reframes it with a judgmental eye. The fake story claims Lancaster, known for his professionalism, would have been disgusted by Monroe's famously difficult behavior on set. It's well documented that she was often late, insecure, and had trouble remembering her lines. The rumor suggests that Lancaster, who saw acting as a serious craft, would have viewed her behavior not as a sign of her deep-seated issues, but as a total lack of respect for her work and her co-stars. It paints him as a man with no patience for the chaos that surrounded Monroe. Errol Flynn is another easy target. Flynn's reputation as a rogue on screen was more than matched by his real life. His name was linked to hard drinking, womanizing, and scandalous behavior. Most famously, he was tried on statutory rape charges in 1942, and even though he was acquitted, the event cemented his image as a debauched playboy. For the creators of the Lancaster list, Flynn is low-hanging fruit. The argument is simple. Lancaster, a devoted family man, in public at least, and a serious artist, would have been repulsed by Flynn's reckless lifestyle. There's no need for nuance. Flynn's public scandals are presented as Exhibit A, with the assumption that any decent person like Lancaster must have found him disgusting. Perhaps the most complicated case is Bing Crosby. For decades, Crosby was America's dad. His soothing voice was the sound of Christmas, and his roles in films like White Christmas made him seem gentle and deeply moral. That image was shattered years after his death, most famously by his son Gary Crosby's memoir, Going My Own Way. The book portrayed his father as a cold, distant, and abusive tyrant. These revelations left a shocking and permanent stain on Crosby's legacy. The Lancaster rumor takes this information and applies it retroactively. It claims that Lancaster, working in the same Hollywood circles, must have known the truth all along. It suggests that he saw the darkness behind the friendly image and was disgusted by the hypocrisy of a man who sold a wholesome family image, while allegedly terrorizing his own children. In every case, the method is the same. Take a grain of truth, a real scandal, a difficult reputation, a posthumous revelation, and frame it as the secret knowledge of Burt Lancaster. It creates a convincing story of a wise observer who was just ahead of his time, but a closer look shows that this evidence is just recycled gossip, cleverly repackaged to support a story that never happened. It's clear this story taps into our fascination with the CK bait. Our investigation started where any real historical search does, with credible sources. We dug through respected biographies of Burt Lancaster. Like Kate Buford's meticulously researched Burt Lancaster in American Life, we looked at his interviews, his TV appearances, and the memoirs of people who knew him, from his friend-enemy Kirk Douglas to Shelley Winters, who claimed she had an affair with him. We checked the archives of major newspapers and magazines. There is not a single verifiable piece of evidence, not one quote, not one interview, not one documented letter where Burt Lancaster calls James Stewart, Marilyn Monroe, or any other major star disgusting. The entire idea of a secret list is completely missing from the historical record. The man who appears in these credible sources is complex, no doubt. He was private, smart, and known for a temper. He had a famous and often fiery friendship with Kirk Douglas, a relationship Douglas himself said was a mix of fighting and deep love. They teased each other relentlessly in public, with Lancaster once joking about Douglas's height and reportedly making him cry, a story that's now Hollywood legend. But even in this, the most documented feud of his career, the feeling underneath was respect, not disgust. Kirk Douglas later said, "We fought a lot, and I miss him a lot." So if the story didn't come from history, where did it come from? The trail led straight to the modern content mills of the internet. We found that the phrase, "Burt Lancaster finally names the disgusting actors," is a classic clickbait formula. The title is designed for maximum shock and emotion, and the pattern is copied across hundreds of videos and articles, just with different celebrity names. You can find almost identical titles like Shirley Temple's Secret List exposes Gr**** Murs in Hollywood, or Paul Newman's list of actors he couldn't stand exposed. These videos and articles almost never give you a real source for their wild claims. They use vague phrases like "sources say," "it is believed," or "according to a secret memoir," but when you look for that memoir, it doesn't exist. It's a ghost, made up to make pure speculation sound official. The content is usually just a mix of public domain photos, film clips, and a narrator recycling old gossip, all presented as a shocking new revelation. A perfect example is a series of YouTube videos that have popped up in the last couple of years. One is titled "Burt Lancaster Named the Most Evil Actors of Hollywood's Golden Age." Another is titled "At 80 Burt Lancaster Reveals the Gay Actors of Old Hollywood He Dated in Secret." And then there's the one with our exact title. These videos often contradict each other. One video will claim Lancaster hated Kirk Douglas, while another focuses on his alleged secret gay relationships with stars like Rock Hudson and Cary Grant, claims that are themselves based on unsubstantiated rumors. This isn't journalism. It's content farming. The people making these videos aren't historians. They are anonymous channels with names like The King of Time or Hollywood Actors' Secrets. And their goal isn't to inform you, but to make money from your outrage and curiosity. They exploit a weakness in our modern world: the fact that a sensational lie will always travel faster than the truth. They prey on a generational gap, knowing many viewers aren't familiar with the detailed histories of these stars, making them easier to fool. Our investigation shows that there is no Lancaster list. It is a modern invention, a piece of digital folklore created to generate views and add revenue. It's a ghost story for the YouTube age, built on the bones of real people's lives. The real Burt Lancaster was a man of strong opinions, but there is no evidence he ever engaged in the kind of posthumous takedown these videos describe. The secret list is not his legacy. It is a lie designed to deceive a whole new generation. So, the central mystery is solved. The Burt Lancaster secret list is a fake. There is no lost memoir, no deathbed confession, no real source to back up this explosive claim. It's a fabrication, a piece of digital junk floating in the internet ocean. But this leads to a much deeper and more interesting question, why? Why is this story and others like it so ridiculously popular? Why are we so eager to believe our heroes were secretly monsters? The answer is a powerful mix of human psychology, nostalgia, and the way modern media works. First, these stories feed our suspicion of fame and power. We live in an age where we don't trust institutions. We've seen beloved celebrities and powerful people fall from grace in spectacular ways. The idea that a public image is just a carefully managed PR campaign isn't a conspiracy theory anymore. It's a reality we see all the time. Stories like the Lancaster list confirm what we already suspect. They whisper to us, "See? You were right. To be suspicious, nothing is what it seems." It feels good to be in on the real story that past generations were too naive to see. It's the appeal of taking the red pill and seeing the world as it truly is. Second, this kind of story perfectly plays on our relationship with the past. The golden age of Hollywood has a special glamorous mystique. But these rumor videos offer what you could call nostalgia with a twist. They let us enjoy the glamour of the past while also feeling smarter than the audiences of that time. We can look at photos of Jimmy Stewart or Bing Crosby and think, everyone thought they were saints, but we know the dark truth. It's a way of looking at history that makes us feel superior to it. Third, and maybe most importantly, the story is perfectly built for social media algorithms. The creators of these videos know exactly what drives engagement, shock, outrage, and secrets. A title like Burt Lancaster finally names the disgusting actors you were tricked into liking is a masterclass in psychological manipulation. Finally, suggests a long-awaited revelation. Disgusting is a powerful emotional word. And you were tricked into liking is a direct challenge to your judgment, making it almost impossible not to click. These videos are designed to be argued over in the comments. They are designed to be shared with a caption like, "I can't believe this about Jimmy Stewart." Every comment, every share, every angry reaction feeds the algorithm, signaling that this is high engagement content. The platform then pushes it to more people, creating a vicious cycle of misinformation. The truth doesn't stand a chance because the truth is often quiet, nuanced, and frankly, less exciting. The truth that a complex actor had a complex life but never made. A secret hate list simply can't compete with the lie. The story of the Lancaster list isn't really about Burt Lancaster. It's about us. It reflects our modern anxieties about truth, our complicated relationship with the past, and how easily we can be manipulated online. It shows how history can be rewritten, not by scholars but by anonymous content creators looking to make a quick buck. The most shocking part of this story isn't that Burt Lancaster had a secret list. It's that so many of us were willing to believe he did, without asking for a single shred of proof. We started with a scandalous rumor that Hollywood legend Burt Lancaster exposed the hidden evils of his co-stars in a secret, damning list. It was a story that promised to flip our understanding of the golden age on its head, knocking icons like James Stewart and Bing Crosby off their pedestals. But our investigation into this viral tale led us not to a hidden truth, but to a modern lie. We found no secret memoir, no historical basis, and no credible evidence for any such list. Instead, we found a cottage industry of digital deception, where history is mined for gossip and repackaged into sensational, monetizable content. The rumor of Burt Lancaster's list is a phantom, a ghost story born of clickbait headlines and algorithms. The real Burt Lancaster was a man of substance and contradiction. He was a circus acrobat who became a movie star, an independent producer who challenged the studio system, and a political activist who fought for his beliefs. He was known for his fierce intelligence and his equally fierce temper. It is this real complexity that makes him the perfect vessel for this modern myth. The lie works because it's built around a believable version of the man. Ultimately, the popularity of this rumor says more about our time than it does about Hollywood's past. It speaks to our hunger for secrets, our cynicism towards celebrity, and our willingness to believe that everything we admire is built on hypocrisy. We're fascinated by the idea that we were tricked, because uncovering the trick makes us feel smart, but the truth matters. The real stories of these people, their struggles, triumphs, and complexities are far more interesting than the one-dimensional caricatures in these fake lists. James Stewart was more than just a wholesome everyman. He was a man who served his country with honor. Marilyn Monroe was more than just an unprofessional diva. She was a brilliant, fragile talent consumed by a system that both created and destroyed her. And Burt Lancaster was more than a judgmental scorekeeper. He was a restless and pioneering artist. The next time a shocking headline about a dead star's secret list flashes across your screen, it's worth asking a simple question. Who profits from this story? Is it the truth? Or is it just the ghost of a legend, brought back to life and twisted for views in a digital world where the past is always for sale? If you enjoyed this deep dive into Hollywood history and our investigation into the truth behind the rumors, please give this video a like and subscribe to our channel for more content that separates fact from fiction. And now we want to hear from you. Which of these Golden Age stars